Welcome back, Lincoln Currency everyone. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating, talked about, and speculated coins in U.S. numismatic history, the 1980 Lincoln cent. A coin that, for many people, may seem like an ordinary piece of copper in their pocket change, but which, for coin collectors and investors alike, holds stories, history, and potential hidden value beyond anything you'd imagine. In fact, some say that certain 1980 pennies have fetched offers as high as $98 million, an unbelievable number, yes, but one rooted in a growing market of demand, rare era coins, collector obsessions, and myths mixed with reality. Let's begin by taking a closer look at the basics. The 1980 Lincoln penny was minted in large quantities, with three major U.S. mints involved: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint did not include a mint mark, as was customary at the time. The Denver Mint coins carry a small D mint mark just beneath the date on the obverse, and San Francisco, while typically reserved for proof coinage, struck the 1980s proof pennies for collectors. So why would a coin minted in the billions be worth more than face value? And more incredibly, how does a coin minted in 1980 become the subject of million-dollar speculation? To understand this, we need to consider the coin's historical context, metal composition, mint errors, rarity of variations, and the psychology of collectors. First, let's go back to what the Lincoln cent represents. First introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this was the first U.S. coin to depict a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin's obverse features the profile of President Lincoln, a design that has endured for over a century. The reverse in 1980 still bore the iconic Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo and first introduced in 1959 to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. In 1980, the Lincoln cent was still primarily made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This changed in mid-1982, when the U.S. Mint transitioned to copper-plated zinc coins due to the rising cost of copper. So, the 1980 cent is one of the last few years to feature a high copper content, and that alone has added modest intrinsic value over time. Copper hoarders and bullion collectors often separate these older pre-1982 pennies for their melt value, though it remains illegal to melt U.S. coins for metal. But that's not where the real money lies. When collectors start paying big money for coins like the 1980 penny, it's not because of the copper. It's because of something far rarer: errors, varieties, and high-grade condition examples that have been preserved unlike most coins in circulation. Let's look at mint errors, accidental but extremely collectible anomalies that occur during the minting process. Some of the most valuable 1980 Lincoln cents come from dramatic error coins. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, cuds, broad strikes, and clipped planchets. One of the most famous errors is the 1980 double die obverse, often abbreviated as DDO. This means the coin die itself had been engraved with a doubled image, causing the resulting coin to show noticeable doubling in letters and numbers, especially in the "In God We Trust" motto, the word "Liberty," and the date 1980. A true DDO can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic the doubling appears and what condition the coin is in. Then there are off-center strikes. A 1980 penny that was struck 10%, 25%, or even 50% off-center can bring significant interest. The more off-center it is, while still showing the full date and mint mark, the more valuable it tends to be. Let's not forget die breaks and cuds, parts of the die breaking off, causing raised blobs or missing parts on the coin. In some cases, these errors can be so dramatic and eye-catching that they seem more like art than accidents. In terms of proof coins, the 1980s Lincoln cent holds a different kind of value. These were struck on polished planchets with special dies, giving them a mirror-like finish. While not rare in the absolute sense, as over 3 million were made, high-grade examples graded PR70 DCM by companies like PCGS or NGC can command premium prices. Coins graded PR70 are considered perfect, and collectors compete fiercely for these high-end examples. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: the claims that certain 1980 pennies have been valued at or sold for nearly $98 million. Is that possible? In most cases, such claims are rooted more in internet hype, speculation, or theoretical asking prices than actual auction results. Some online listings for rare coins can be seen on marketplaces like eBay for absurd amounts: $10 million, $50 million, $98 million. But these are often marketing stunts or wishful pricing with no actual sales. That said, the concept of a penny becoming incredibly valuable is not fiction. Some Lincoln cents, like the 1943 brown cent or the 1955 double die, have sold for over $100,000 and even into the seven-figure range. If a unique, previously undiscovered 1980 error were to surface, it's not unthinkable that collectors might pay an astronomical price. So, where does that leave us? The real value in 1980 Lincoln cents lies in three areas. First, dramatic and authenticated mint errors that make the coin one of a kind. Second, extremely high-grade examples that have been professionally graded MS-68 or higher. And third, rare varieties that are either newly discovered or in very short supply. For the average person, finding a 1980 penny and change might not seem like much. But if you happen to stumble upon one with clear doubling, an off-center strike, or a visible mint error, and especially if it's in near-perfect condition, you could be holding on to a coin worth far more than a cent. It's important to examine any suspicious or interesting coin carefully, using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, and to compare it with trusted reference images from PCGS, NGC, or the Cherry Picker's Guide. Coin grading is also critical. A 1980 penny in circulated condition, even with a minor error, might only be worth a few dollars. But the same coin in MS-67 or higher can multiply in value drastically. Coins must be graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC to have any serious market value. Raw coins are rarely trusted at high prices unless directly observed by a knowledgeable buyer. If you believe you have something special, consider sending it in for grading. Yes, there's a cost involved, typically around $30 to $50 per coin. But if you believe your 1980 cent is a rare error or pristine condition specimen, it could be worth the investment. The Lincoln cent has been minted for over 100 years and counting, but it's coins like the 1980 issue that exists right on the cusp of two eras: the end of high copper content and the beginning of a new alloy era. That makes it historically significant. But combine that with the potential for rare errors, high grades, and unique varieties, and suddenly you have a coin that goes from a humble cent to a potential treasure. Every year, new varieties are discovered by collectors, hobbyists, and even beginners with sharp eyes and a bit of patience. It's entirely possible that some of the most valuable 1980 Lincoln cents haven't even been discovered yet. If a coin with a never-before-seen mint error, a major off-metal strike, for example, were to appear and be authenticated, it could spark a bidding war among collectors, and its value could easily reach six figures or more. The most important part of this hobby is education and attention to detail. Whether you're checking your change jar, metal detecting in your backyard, or going through rolls from the bank, always keep an eye out for the unexpected. Use coin forums, YouTube videos, reference guides, and grading resources to expand your knowledge. Sometimes, the difference between a penny and a fortune is just a matter of knowing what to look for. So while a $98 million penny might seem outlandish, the idea that an ordinary-looking coin could be worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, is very real. That's the beauty of numismatics. It's history, mystery, art, and discovery all in one. Keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, the next rare 1980 Lincoln penny might be in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching. Have you ever found a 2007 Lincoln penny and wondered if it could change your life forever? Well, today, we're diving into one of the most talked about coins in recent years. A simple copper-colored coin, just 1 cent in face value, yet rumors and headlines suggest it might be worth millions, even a jaw-dropping $98 million. But is that real? Is it even possible? And why is this tiny piece of metal getting so much attention? Let's take a journey into the fascinating world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, and explore the truth behind the 2007 Lincoln cent. What makes this coin special? What's the history behind it? And is there really a version of it that could fetch a small fortune on the open market? First, let's start with the basics. The 2007 D penny is a standard issue coin from the Denver Mint. It features the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had been used since 1959 and continued up until 2008. The obverse, of course, showcases the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. The small D mint mark under the date identifies it as minted in Denver. In 2007 alone, the Denver Mint produced over 3.7 billion of these pennies. Yes, that's billion with AB.so. How does a coin so common end up being associated with such extraordinary value? The answer lies not in the average 2007 D penny itself, but in a combination of collector enthusiasm, coin errors, rare minting anomalies, and viral misinformation. To truly understand the value potential of any coin, we need to look at a few key factors: rarity, demand, condition, and provenance. Let's break each one down in the context of the 2007 D penny. First, rarity. As we just mentioned, the coin isn't rare in the traditional sense. Billions were made, and many are still in circulation today. But every now and then, something unusual slips through the cracks at the US Mint. A coin struck on the wrong planchet, a double die, an off-center strike, or other minting error. These error coins are the real treasures, and sometimes they do indeed command sky-high prices. Take, for example, a 2007 D penny struck on a blank meant for a different denomination, such as a dime or nickel. These are known as off-metal errors and are incredibly rare. If authenticated and graded highly by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC, such coins can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars at auction. There have been reports of rare penny errors from other years selling for over $10,000, and even six-figure amounts in extreme cases. But a $98 million penny? That's something else entirely. Which brings us to the origin of the $98 million story. It's mostly internet myth, fueled by clickbait headlines, social media rumors, and unscrupulous sellers trying to cash in on the frenzy. There is no documented case of a 2007 D penny selling for $98 million. In fact, the most expensive coin ever sold is the 1933 Double Eagle, which fetched around $18.9 million at auction. That's a gold coin, by the way, not a modern copper-plated zinc penny. Still, collectors love a good story. And that leads to demand. When a certain coin gets attention, whether for a genuine reason or because of sensationalist rumors, it can spike interest, drive up prices temporarily, and create a market buzz. The 2007 D penny has certainly benefited from this. Online marketplaces like eBay and Etsy have listings of 2007 D pennies priced from a few dollars to tens of thousands, sometimes with no evidence of errors or grading. Many of these are opportunistic listings banking on the hype. Condition also plays a huge role in value. A coin in circulated condition, meaning it's been used in everyday transactions, is worth face value, 1 cent. However, an uncirculated or mint state MS coin, especially one graded MS67 or higher, can be much more valuable to collectors. Coins in MS68 condition or better are incredibly rare for common dates like 2007 D, and that rarity can push values into the hundreds or even thousands, especially if the coin exhibits flawless surfaces, sharp details, and strong luster. Then there's provenance, the story behind the coin. If a coin has been featured in a famous collection or discovered in a notable hoard, that history can add a premium. But most 2007 D pennies don't come with such a backstory. Unless yours has an authenticated minting error or has been preserved in exceptional condition since it left the mint, its value will likely remain modest. Now, let's talk about the grading services that help determine the real value of coins. PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, are two of the most respected names in coin authentication. If you believe you have a rare 2007 D penny, submitting it for professional grading is essential. Not only does it verify the coin's authenticity, but it also gives it a numerical grade based on condition, which is critical for buyers and sellers alike. So, if you've got a 2007 penny and you're hoping it's worth a fortune, what should you look for? First, check for any visible minting errors. Does the coin have any doubling on the lettering or date? Is the strike off center? Does the edge seem unusual? Is the color different, perhaps struck on the wrong planchet? If anything seems out of the ordinary, that's your cue to investigate further. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and examine the details closely. Then, consider having it reviewed by an expert or submitting it to a grading service. There's also the human factor. The thrill of the hunt is what keeps so many coin collectors engaged. Every time you get change at a store, you have the potential to uncover something rare, something valuable, something historic. Even if you don't find $1 million penny, you're participating in a tradition that spans centuries. Coins tell stories about presidents, politics, wars, art, and the evolution of our nation. And who knows? Maybe one day a previously unknown era penny from 2007 will surface, turn heads in the coin collecting world, and fetch a truly unbelievable price. It's happened before. Remember the 1943 copper penny? That coin was accidentally struck in copper instead of steel during World War II and is now one of the most valuable pennies in existence. One of them sold for over $1 million. In the end, the 2007 Lincoln penny is a fascinating reminder that even the most common items in our pockets could carry secrets, value, and history. But the odds of yours being worth $98 million? Let's just say it's not impossible, because in numismatics, nothing ever truly is, but it's extraordinarily unlikely. Still, that shouldn't stop you from checking your change, learning about mint marks, and joining the vibrant world of coin collecting. It's not just about the money. It's about the joy of discovery, the appreciation of craftsmanship, and the thrill of uncovering a hidden gem. So the next time you find a penny on the ground, especially a 2007, take a closer look. Because in the world of coins, the smallest things can sometimes carry the biggest stories. And who knows? Maybe your penny will be the next great discovery. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay collecting, and don't forget to check your pockets.